When you hear the flu or COVID-19, you probably think of sneezing, fever, maybe even a little body aches. But did you know that these common illnesses may be quietly stirring up much more inside your body than you realize? Imagine the shock of seemingly recovering from a bout of the flu, only to find months later that it may have secretly awakened a dormant cancer within you. It sounds like something from a sci-fi thriller, but recent scientific discoveries are suggesting that this may be a more common occurrence than we ever imagined. Most of us think of the flu or COVID-19 as short-term illnesses, unpleasant, exhausting, but temporary conditions that we eventually recover from with rest and care. But recent scientific findings suggest a far more unsettling reality. These viral infections may have the power to awaken dormant cancer cells hiding silently inside the body, lying undetected for years. And this possibility has sent shockwaves through the medical world, because it challenges how we understand both infectious diseases and cancer biology. You see, dormant cancer cells, which are often left behind after successful treatment or sometimes even present without ever causing symptoms, are like tiny sleeping seeds scattered throughout the body, inactive and harmless until something triggers them to grow. And researchers have long puzzled over what causes these silent cells to suddenly reawaken after years of peace, causing cancer to relapse or spread. When we catch one of these viruses, our immune system launches into overdrive, producing a flood of inflammatory chemicals called cytokines, which are like urgent alarm signals calling white blood cells into battle. And while this storm of inflammation is crucial to fighting infection, it also creates a chaotic environment inside the body where dormant cancer cells may sense danger and switch back into an active growth phase, almost as if the virus is shaking them awake. And experiments in laboratories have shown that when dormant cancer cells are exposed to conditions that mimic viral inflammation, they begin dividing again, re-entering the cell cycle after years of silence, suggesting that the flu or COVID is not directly causing cancer, but rather disturbing an uneasy truce between the body and its hidden cells, opening a door that many thought was firmly locked. This discovery has huge implications for understanding how cancers come back from the dead. But it also raises urgent questions about who is most at risk. While it does not mean that every person who gets a viral infection will suddenly develop cancer, certain groups face greater vulnerability, especially cancer survivors whose bodies may still harbor scattered dormant cells, elderly individuals whose immune systems are weaker, people with chronic illnesses like diabetes or heart disease, and those with lifestyles that fuel constant low-level inflammation, such as smoking, obesity, or poor diet. Because in these groups, the storm of cytokines during a flu or COVID infection can be particularly intense, making the chance of reawakening cancer cells more likely. The frightening part is that these changes are not always immediately obvious. Someone could feel they've fully recovered from the virus, yet months later begin to notice unusual symptoms like persistent fatigue, unexplained weight loss, lingering chest pain, swollen lymph nodes, or a cough that refuses to go away, which are often brushed off as harmless, but could actually signal the early stages of cancer recurrence, triggered by the viral aftermath. This is why awareness and vigilance are so critical. On a broader level, this connection between viruses and cancer shows just how interconnected our health systems are, reminding us that diseases don't exist in isolation but interact with one another in ways we are only beginning to understand. The flu or COVID, once thought of as respiratory infections affecting only the lungs, are now being recognized as potential triggers for much deeper and long-lasting effects throughout the body. This should encourage society to take these illnesses more seriously, not as minor seasonal inconveniences but as powerful biological events that ripple through our immune systems and may even influence our risk of developing cancer later in life. Scientists around the world are now racing to study this relationship in more detail, examining medical records of patients who relapsed after viral infections and conducting laboratory experiments to uncover the precise molecular switches that viruses flip inside dormant cells. Because unlocking this knowledge could lead to groundbreaking treatments that either keep these cells asleep forever or eliminate them entirely, removing the risk of reactivation once and for all. And while we wait for these advances, the most practical takeaway for everyday people is to view their immune system as their strongest line of defense, something that must be protected and nourished just as carefully as the heart or the brain. Because a healthy immune system not only fends off viruses but also helps maintain control over hidden threats like dormant cancer cells. In the end, the link between flu, COVID, and cancer may sound frightening, but it also gives us a clearer picture of how to protect ourselves by respecting viral infections, by not ignoring lingering symptoms, by prioritizing prevention through lifestyle and medicine, and by staying informed about the silent connections that shape our long-term health. Because knowledge is power, and the more we understand about the invisible interactions happening inside our bodies, the better equipped we are to stay safe, healthy, and one step ahead of diseases that thrive in the shadows.